Below the waves, down on the ocean's bottom, the underwater world is full of mystery. Enough mystery to turn Joe Kistel of Jacksonville and his team of divers into detectives.
Good morning, everybody. So our kind of
They're with the TSIRI organization, which stands for Think It, Sink It, Reef It. They specialize in artificial reefs.
We've got a lot of reefs offshore Northeast Florida.
This summer, they dove a reef that wasn't on their maps, and they found...
There's a few big tires
and
wing structure.
Well, they found a plane.
This wasn't planned by any means.
Meaning it crashed there.
From our standpoint, I mean, this isn't something we're familiar with either.
They had no idea what plane it was.
The mystery behind it is very attractive, I guess.
Intrigued, they dove the side again off of St. Augustine.
I was rummaging around.
Amidst the wreckage, something little caught Kistel's eye.
And I broke this little piece off, and I almost discarded it. But I looked at it close, and it looked like it had a piece of sheet metal that was riveted on it.
For kicks, Kistel brought that chunk of metal to the boat, cleaned it up.
And we were able to see property U.S., which is pretty exciting because that narrowed it down to a military aircraft.
It was a lucky clue. That piece Kistel pulled up just so happened to have the plane's data plate on it with a number on it.
Specified this aircraft is an A-7.
Not many A-7s have had mishaps according to the Navy, but
there happened to be one 20 miles off the coast of St. Augustine.
Bingo.
So we figured, hey, this may be some family member that was lost or didn't come back, and we were thinking, okay, at best, maybe we can provide some closure for a family.
A little more research with the Navy, and
I actually found Robert Beazle as the pilot's name, and his age at the time of the accident was, I think, 24.
A Google search led Kistel not to a dead pilot's family.
My name is Bob Beazle.
But to the pilot himself.
I teach aviation maintenance.
Who's very much alive.
Feeling all right?
Bob Beazle lives with his wife, Jenny, in Charleston, South Carolina.
I received that telephone call in the evening as I was driving home from teaching school.
Bob, I think I found your plane.
This was sort of a bolt from the blue.
And so he got quiet.
I didn't exactly cover myself with glory. And I think I said, I thought I buried that about 37 years ago.
He's a retired U.S. Navy admiral now, but in the 1970s.
I was stationed at Naval Air Station Cecil Field as a new pilot in the A-7 Corsair II.
There's a date.
December the 2nd, 1974.
And time.
About 10:30 in the morning.
He'll never forget. He was above the clouds, above the Atlantic, training.
I was a part of a four-plane formation.
And then?
I sort of became, I think, just disoriented.
Beazle's plane aimed right at another aircraft.
I thought, oh my God, this is going to be very close.
He slammed into his commander's plane.
And then I heard a very loud bang, and the plane shuddered, and then went out of control.
Beazle ejected. He had a parachute, but the plane?
I remember seeing an airplane, I don't know whether it was mine, descending to the clouds that were below us.
A helicopter eventually plucked Beazle from the ocean, and his commander's plane made it back to Cecil okay. But Beazle never went back to that watery site off St. Augustine.
And there are some things that you hope are put to rest.
Beazle did not even tell many people about the crash until that diver named Joe from Jacksonville found that crusty chunk of airplane.
I mean, if you think of all of the things that wind up in the ocean, you know, that they would come across this and be able to do that kind of detective work, that's pretty impressive.
And nearly 40 years later, he returned to St. Augustine with his wife, bound for a plane he left 20 miles off the coast.
So 20 miles out, that means you no longer can see the land. Every once in a while you see another boat. But so much closer is that plane wreckage, just 80 feet below.
80 feet. It's a forever away, 80 feet.
Once the TSIRI boats hovered over the exact site, the dive gear went on,
All right, Bob.
the dive flag went up,
Have you got a wallet or something down there I should look for?
and the divers went down. Beazle doesn't dive, but he sat in awe.
Wow.
On the same site where his life changed.
Sometimes I'm at a loss for words.
Down below, the rusty plane sits in piles.
The structure down there is not really recognizable as a plane. basically the material of the jet that has this depth of growth. I mean, you have coral sponges, invertebrates, marine life, and all that all over it. So it's like a very natural looking reef now.
Kistel's team brought up a few more artifacts for Biesel to look at fresh off the plane.
Airplane piece. That looks like it's important on a plane.
Well, I don't know. Is it a bleed air line? It looks.
Yeah, I'm thinking bleed air.
Bleed air.
Yeah.
We started digging around some of that landing gear. It's pretty robust.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's old
Oh
t-shirt.
my God. Well, wait a minute. It looks like a rag. Oh, there is that is another piece of armor? Holy cow. Now that's interesting. Oh yeah. See that gray vinyl material was cockpit stuff.
His cockpit. A reminder that he survived, he's alive, and his plane has become a living place too in a way, an artificial reef full of life by accident.
It really is. It's certainly being used for something other than what it was intended.
It's a sunken place
Like a little T almost.
where two men's paths collided this fall.
Okay, can you see that?
Let me put some
And
glasses
from
on.
that place, they take away some dinner, some mementos, and an unexpected mystery solved. Off the coast of St. Augustine, Jessica Clark, First Coast News.
That far apart.
Right.
Okay, where
Right.
that'd be the inside.
Right.
And then in the middle of it is the